Hello and welcome back to Ask Ardyce. This is episode number 5. It's the second part of this week's series. We had so many questions yet again that we had to split her up. I am joined here by the wonderful Ardyce herself. Grandma, would you like to say hi to everybody?
Hi everybody. Glad to be back.
Wonderful. So, I'll dive right into the questions this week with a question from Ashton Chugh. We promised to finish up his questions in this episode. So he asked, what are some of the quirkiest, weirdest things you saw? I'm not sure if he meant it as follow-up to that previous question, but you can talk about the quirkiest, weirdest things you saw in these natural disasters or just the quirkiest, weirdest things you've seen in life.
Well, the quirkiest one, Ashton, that I believe was seeing the hippopotamuses getting out of the zoo and people having picnic tables turned over and pushing against them, trying to stop them from going down the Bow River. They managed to do that. It wasn't funny, but it did look kind of funny.
That's a good one. I forgot about that one. Oh.
Yeah, but that was one of the quirkiest things I'd ever seen in life. Yeah, Ashton, I guess I did a really quirky thing once. Quentin had to rescue me. He was 18, and I got into the bar, and I guess I had a little too much to drink, Ashton, and I found a pair of scissors. So I went around the bar and told all the gentlemen that I was going to cut their ties off, and they said no, that I wasn't. But when they saw me coming at them, every one of them backed up and let me cut off their ties.
When Grandma comes at you with a pair of scissors, you gotta just back up and let it happen, I guess. Like, don't mess with her.
Oh. And I had phoned Quentin to come and pick me up, so he was so embarrassed.
That was one of my favorite stories from back in the day. So I'm so glad you shared that one. Oh my gosh. Okay. So moving on to a question from Mr. Ethan Henschel, a returning caller. He says, what has been the overarching theme in your life?
Oh boy.
He asked the best questions. They're so hard.
Yeah. You know what? I haven't had one, Ethan. I have done a lot of flying by the seat of my pants in my life. I've had many interesting jobs. I've owned businesses, some successful, some not so successful. Worked in grocery stores for years and did enjoy that. Ended up being a bookkeeper. Worked from home most of the time. I think that's what you're meaning, Ethan, but I'm not sure. I just went for it from the time I was very young on up.
So just go for it. It's kind of your...
anyway.
That is a great way to look at life, Grandma. And I like how you kind of look at it as a collection of moments rather than one theme or one thing. It's just kind of a lot of little cool things that have happened to you.
That's right, yeah.
Really neat. Okay, the next question is from my cousin Christy. Christy Lee.
Oh.
Yeah. So she says, long-time listener, first-time caller. Question for Aunt Ardy. With so much panic and fear right now beneath the surface of our friends and loved ones during these troubling days, what advice do you have to keep an open heart in the midst of the chaos? Do you have any tricks to exude calmness so that one close to you doesn't spiral down into the negativity of current events?
Christy, I'm finding I have been so fortunate with people sending me stuff over social media that just absolutely makes me belly laugh. And I think if we can just send funny stuff out to you, especially if you think somebody's getting down, try and find something that you know will really trigger their sense of humor, and send them a picture, send them a quote, send them something you can think up. Sing to them, Christy. You have a beautiful voice. Whatever it takes to make them happy, just go for it. And if they can laugh, I really think that takes a lot of the pressure off of us.
Absolutely. Laughter is the best medicine. So you're basically telling people to just combat the fear and the chaos with joy.
You betcha.
Wonderful advice, Grandma. Okay, on to another question from Alan Leangvan. So last week he sent us a question asking how to unmess his life is how we're putting it now, I guess. And this week he sent a little follow-up with a more specific question. He said, how do I maintain a regular sleep schedule, especially during a time when people are jobless and not supposed to leave their house? Wishing you love, health, and laughter.
My first question, I guess, to you is, did you have a regular sleep pattern before all of this?
Good question.
If not, then just blow everything out the window, and just now you're going to pick a time that you're going to go to bed, and you're going to make yourself stay in that bed for 8 hours. I don't care if you go to sleep or not.
Good advice.
Eventually, you will get a good sleep pattern going, and just listen to yourself breathe. Just breathe in and out. And in and out. I gotta quit or I'm gonna go to sleep.
I'm gonna play that when I need to sleep now. I'll just put that on a loop, Grandma. That's perfect. But you're so right. Just like listening to your breath. And I love what you say about not having to be asleep necessarily. Just be in bed for 8 hours and then don't keep yourself busy with other stuff. Just lie there, listen to your breath, and eventually you'll doze off.
And if you're finding it's noisy in the house you're living in, because lots of times that's what it's like when people don't have anything to do, try earplugs. I don't know if you can wear them or not. Some people can and some people can't, but think about those too. But really think about the breathing pattern. It's worked for me for years.
Awesome. We have a little bit more time. So I wanted to ask a quick question since everybody else gets to ask a question every week, but I haven't gotten to ask you a question yet. This is probably a more personal question to me, but I think a lot of people will relate to this. I know a lot of people are jobless right now or financially tight with the pandemic going on. For people who have lost their jobs, what advice do you give them to keep hope and keep some kind of routine and normalcy in their life? Should people start looking for work in different fields? Should they wait it out? Should they try to find a way to make their work online? Like, what advice do you give to people who are without a job and thinking, okay, what's the next step?
This one around is very difficult because every field is different.
Absolutely.
I really believe our government is trying their very best to keep everybody's head above board.
You're so right.
Maybe we won't have any extras at all. We won't. But I believe most people are going to go back to the jobs they had before this all started. I think we're going to do everything we can to make sure that everybody gets their jobs back and gets their lives back and just carries on. Yes, we'll always remember this, but, hopefully it'll be in the background.
That's a nice hopeful note. There's lots of good aid going on to get us through the toughest part. And you're right, this too shall pass. Hey, Grandma?
It should. And please, everybody, if you don't need the help from the government, don't take it. Don't abuse the privileges that they're trying to hand out to the people that are really desperate.
Yeah. Yep, that's a good point too, Grandma. Well, that concludes another episode of Ask Ardyce. Is there anything you want to sign off with? Anything you want to tell the people of the world, Grandma?
Keep your chin up, everybody. We're going to get through this. I know the days are going to get worse, they say, before they get better. But, we're in the middle of the mud now. We're going to climb out the other side. So just hang on. Hang on.
So that was Ask Ardyce. I hope you got as much out of that as I always do. If you have any other questions, feel free to post them on Facebook. And I'll nag Grandma with some more questions soon.